is Karen. Welcome to the second in the series of Sunday sketches. This is the sketch we're going to be working on today. You'll be able to find the link to this sketch in the description bar below. Today isn't a voiceover. Oh, last week was incredibly insane. Anyway, before we go any further, that's the sketch, and that was my take on it for the feminine card. This beautiful script of thank you is one of our celebration items for 2017. I'll show you that now. It's there. I actually got it in the wood mount by mistake, but it doesn't really matter. Either way is good. You can get it in clear mount as well. Now, these are the two stamp sets we're going to be using today. So Very Much, which is the thank you, and as I said, that's a celebration item, and Perpetual Birthday Calendar, and we're only going to be using the splotches out of that one. So I'll pop that aside, and I'll pop that aside because I've got everything mounted here. You will also need Versamark Stays On, and of course if you're using Versamark you need your embossing body. We're using Fast Fuse and Dimensionals. Okay, so as I said, oops, a bit of grit there. This is the card this is the sketch we're going to be working on today. I've already done the feminine. Now we're going to do the masculine. Now, I couldn't find any of my Stampin' Up embossing folders that had a masculine bent to them. I really need to increase my masculine items from Stampin' Up because I really don't have any. Okay, so this is a Doris folder that I've had for eons. I got it at the local scrapbooking store before it closed down. As I said, we'll need some dimensionals, so I'll just pop those aside. All the dimensions for the card will be found on my blog, as well as you will notice the way that it's actually been sliced off there. So I'll tell you how to get the right dimensions for that. Now, we're using the basic black cardstock, as well as the silver foil paper, and I actually used the hexagon punch and fiddled around with this to make it sort of look like a screw. Well, a bolt, screw, you know what I mean. The blokes won't, but I'm sure the girls will. And isn't that being really sexist? Sorry about that. Okay, to start off with, we'll get out the embossing buddy and give that a really good coating on the basic black. The first couple of times I did this, I forgot to do the embossing buddy, and because of it was a coloured embossing powder, I ended up with little bits of it everywhere. Okay, so we'll bring in the Versamark, and this one says for your kindness. So we're just going to pop a little bit there, and then we will bring in the larger stamp. And it's always an idea, if you've got the larger stamp, if the stamp's almost as big as your card, it's best to flip the stamp over so that you can make sure you've got it all coated with the Versamark. Okay, so that's approximately where I want it to go. So down, give it a good press so the ink transfers, and up. Actually, that wasn't too bad. I think yesterday I used my Stampin' Magic. Okay, so we're back with the silver embossing powder. I'll just grab a sheet of paper to scoop it back in with. Normally I'd dip the card in, but because it's a strange angled card, it's probably easier to do it this way. And I've still got it all over the place. Okay, in with the paintbrush and just get rid of the strays. Okay, we'll pop the rest of this. I think the reason I've gotten it everywhere is because I've actually got a fan going behind me at the moment because it's so warm. I think the fan might have blown the embossing powder everywhere. Looking for my lid. Just pop that back on. Now you might want to lower your sound, but I'll fast forward through this because this is where I've got to emboss and it's going to be a bit noisy. Okay, that came out really nice. Sorry, I just had to clean off everything that I was working on here because it was just everywhere. And so we've got the top and the bottom embossed here, heat embossed here, and now I'm going to do a bit of dry embossing with my embossing folder. So I'm just going to line that up in there and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back and we've got our little bit of silver foil embossed here, and this card is going to come together really quickly from now. So all we do, take a bit of the fast fuse and run it along the edge there, like so, just to give it a coating. Make sure you haven't got any hanging over the edge like I did there. And then we're just going to line the two edges up at either side, like so. And all of the embossing powder that you see there, you can actually buff off with some, just some fabric, just a scrap of fabric, and that will come off. The card's almost finished. Now all we need to do is affix this down the bottom here. Now, as you can see, I haven't actually got that perfectly straight, but that doesn't matter. It's handmade. That's my excuse for everything. It's handmade. And unless you're actually a stamper yourself, I don't really think anybody's going to be particularly worried about that. So we'll just snip some of the edge of the dimensionals and pull that up. And then I'm going to stick that across the bottom of the silver foil piece, like so. Take the backing off and then bring this round, and I'm going to line it up slightly below because I'll have to trim it off. I didn't actually stamp that long enough in the tooth there, or far enough down, but there we go. That's actually not looking too bad. We'll flip this over and just trim the bottom bit to match the back of the card, and that's almost the card finished. I'm going to bring in, because this piece has the flower there, I'm going to bring in my pre-cut or pre-punched hexagonal shape, which, let's say it's a screw or a bolt, and I'm going to, if I can see it, there we go, bring in the stays on, and I just ink this up so it should be nice and juicy. So the splatter image from the Perpetual Birthdays calendar is looking good. There we go. There's the stays on splatter on our bolt. Just give it a minute or so to really dry off because it could be a bit sticky being on the foil. And another couple of our dimensionals on the back, like so. We'll peel the backing off. I'm hoping it's not going to smear too badly, and we're just going to pop that just there, and what I would do is move that over and just give it, because it will take, as you can see, it's still coming up, so it'll take a little while to dry on that. But I'm also going to bring in some of the Nouveau drops. And I'm just going to put like rivets along the bottom here. You could use your silver stickles if you have it. I don't actually have any left. I went through so many at Christmas. So I'm just using my Nouveau drops and putting some rivets across the bottom there, just to tart it up a little bit. And that is my card finished for this week. So once again, we'll bring in the original sketch. That was my feminine turn on it, and my masculine. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's Sunday sketches, and you will join me next week. Thankfully, I've had this one up on time. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like catalogues for this current celebration and occasions 2017, contact me via my blog or on my mobile phone. Just send me off a text and say, need the Stampin' Up! Catalogues. Pop your name and address in the text, and voila, my phone number is on the end of this video, and it's also up on my website. It's on my Facebook page, so there's no reason that you can't contact me. Okay, join me again next week for another Sunday sketch, and don't forget, this Friday I have a Friday Frenzy. Okay, see you later.